Welcome to Friday Night Live. My name is Sharon Rogers and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine, and I'm so happy you are joining me this Friday. Now, I'm hoping that the power is going to stay on throughout this video. We lost it probably an hour ago and then got it back not too long after that. We're having a pretty good thunderstorm here, so I'm just hoping that it holds out. But if not, at some point you'll be able to hop on over to my blog, and the link is in the description of this video and it has the directions there. Obviously the replay won't be up until later and the post won't be up until 8 o'clock either, but it's there in case we don't make it all the way through. If we don't make it all the way through, I will film it from start to finish and put it up. So what's new, everybody? Oh, it's August and we're starting off with a bang, quite literally. Hopefully my son is going to cooperate. He really hates thunderstorms. It really messes with him, but so far he's doing okay right now. So Anne has no storm, just rain. Wow, you're lucky. It's a pretty good one here. And Reba, all the way in Alabama, she's got some stormy weather. Well, let me see what I have to show you tonight. I have a couple of quick announcements and then we'll get right to the project that you asked for. Let me turn you down. All right, let's see. Put you in the holder. Sorry for the wiggle wiggle. All right, I think that's pretty good. Here's a current host code if you need it. First announcement is, and I've already sent this out via email, my BOGO is back. BOGO is buy one, get one, and it's going to be on August 19th from 10 to noon. And this is an opportunity for you to score some really great deals. I am making room for new stamping supplies. And so I have my retired stamps and dies and punches and papers and some inks, I think. So I have got lots of retired stuff, and for every dollar that you spend on retired stuff, you can purchase $1's worth of new stuff. So it's buy one, get one. Or you can think of it this way: for each dollar you spend in either the annual catalog or the new mini catalog that just came out. Oh shoot, I forgot to bring it in from the car. I am not bringing it in from the car right now. It is too wet. I can only show you the cover anyway. I can't show you inside. But whether you purchase from the annual or that catalog, well, actually you can't purchase from that catalog in August because it doesn't start till September. But you'll get one at the event. But any purchase from the current catalog, every dollar of that, you can pick $1's worth of retired goodies as well. And so make sure that you come with a wish list. Online items count. So if you haven't yet purchased that One Horse Open Sleigh Suite, or there's a stained glass one that's pretty cool too. Or if you just need to stock up on lots of cardstock because you know you're going to be making Christmas cards or envelopes and all that stuff, this is a great time to do it. So August 19th, you need to RSVP because everybody that attends will also be stamping 2 projects if they want to. And so I need to know how many to prep for. If you cannot make it because you live in far regions, don't worry, I've got you covered. I will send you something out. So let me know if that's you. All right, let's get started. I need some scrap paper here. Now, I asked you to choose which one of these 3 stamp sets I should use tonight. And it was very close between these 2. And I think when I decided to use both of these 2, it was when they were tied. And then I think 1 or 2 votes may have come in for this one. So sorry, but I'm going to use these 2 predominantly. And I'm going to throw in this one just because, why not? We're using 2, why not use 3? But obviously you don't have to. So I'm going to start with a piece of boho blue cardstock, and this is the base. And so it's our normal 5.5 by 8.5 scored and folded in half at 4 1/4. So that's our card base, but we're going to be using it in landscape form this time. You know what? I need to fix my, there we go. That's a little bit better. And we're going to bring in first a piece of basic white that measures 3 1/4 by 4 inches. And we're keeping that in portrait mode. And we're going to use oceanfront to begin with. So I need a big block for this big one. So we're starting with the biggest block. It's the most rectangular. And the top edge, what I'm calling the top edge, is kind of the smoothest part. And then the little bit of wavy edge on the bottom, that I'm calling the bottom part of this. It doesn't really matter, I suppose, only that's what I'm doing. So I know some of you like to know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to start with my Balmy Blue. And I don't want to stamp this full strength. The Balmy Blue is quite a bit darker than you think it's going to be. So I probably, because mine is very juicy, so I stamp off first, and then I'm going to stamp about 1/4 inch from the top. And you know what? I'm going to move the paper for right now because I can't see white on white. So you can see how I'm stamping about 1/4 inch from the top of the paper. And so it's a little bit lighter, a little bit darker in here at the horizon, and that's okay. And then I want to stamp the C portion. Now I'm going to need to clean this stamp only because I will need some extra blocks, I think, in a little bit. So let's clean that and put it away. There we go. And then I'm going to get this one. It's a quadrangle. It has 4 angles. It's not quite, I mean, technically it's not quite a quadrangle, but it's got 4 sides to it. And I guess I do need the big one right here for this. All right, so let's go ahead. And I'm going to bring in the Balmy Blue, the Boho Blue ink. What did I do with the Boho Blue ink? Oh, here it is. Now, a lot of people, when they use this stamp set, they kind of use Pool Party, and that gives a little bit more of a tropical feel. But we're in Maine. There's no tropics here. So I'm going to take the straight part of it here, and I'm going to try to butt it right up against the sky, the bottom of the sky. And it's okay if they overlap a little bit. So here in Maine, this is, and you can see that this is a distinctive stamp set. So there will be lighter parts and darker parts. Now, depending on what kind of day it is, the water in Maine looks either blue or gray. So this is a better color than Pool Party for Maine water. That's for sure. Only on occasion does it get really kind of remotely looking like Pool Party. I'm going to take this little wedge here. That's going to be my sand. And so we need some sand color. Now, we no longer have Sahara sand. If you have it in your collection still, you can obviously use that. I'm just going to take this here, and I'm going to angle it. I'm going to butt it right up against it and angle it. It kind of falls in there like that. You can see it's a little bit lighter here, and there's no problem with that being that way. Now, this ink is going to dry a little bit lighter than it is right now, and I can tell you that for sure because my practice one did. I'm not going to show you my practice one, though, because I played around a little bit too much with it and ruined it a little bit. So now I'm going to bring in copper clay, and also in this oceanfront stamp set is this little seagrass. So I'm going to use that in copper clay. I'm just going to stamp some right here. and it mixes with the other inks to even mute that clay color a little bit down, so it really does look like the grass you might see. And if you wanted to do a second one, you can do a second one too. So there's a bunch of grass over there. All right, so now that is that for this particular piece. I am going to, you know what, I looked right before this and I thought, oh, there is a stamp in the Waves of Inspiration that I might want to add to this later. But we're gonna do it later. So let's set this aside. I'm gonna bring back this card base. And now I wanna switch to another stamp set. So you'll notice the oceanfront doesn't have any sentiments. By the way, we're not done with this. We're gonna use this stamp a little bit later. I'm going to bring out my Seaside Bay and I'm gonna use the Thank You for Everything. Thank you for everything. And this is a red rubber stamp. All right, now here's a little hint. Sometimes if I try to line it up straight on here, then I always think that my straight edge will mean a straight sentiment, but that doesn't always work. So I tend to put it on an angle and then make sure I'm really looking at the words themselves to get them straight. I'm gonna bring in my Night of Navy ink. Now you could do this in boho blue, you could do tone on tone, but I'm not going to. So this is going to go right here. So this will be showing and just a little bit of the border around here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stamp Thank You for Everything right there. Oh, it already looks a little crooked. But look at what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of filling in here. Doing some repeat stamping, but changing the angle of everything as I go along. Or not the angle, but the placement. So it's not just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's kind of a little bit more of a scattered thank you. And remember, I need to do some of the edges too. And I'm just staggering that as well. That one's not going to show, is it? So this is what I'm going to do right here. Put a little U. And then I just want to make sure that something is up at the top here. And over here too, probably. There we go. And so now when we cover this up, you can see if there's any little spot that you might want to add something, and I can see right there is where I want to add something. All right, so there we have something that looks like that. I'm not done with my Night of Navy yet, but I do want to clean it because my stamp is pretty inky and that's probably just asking for trouble. All right, what am I doing now? All right, so what I want to do is I want to bring in a piece of scrap white because I'm not done using my Seaside Bay yet. I'm using the large bird that's in there. So we'll get him or her out. Now, typically, if I color with this guy, if I'm using alcohol markers like the blends, then it's okay to use your water-based inks like Night of Navy. I got something on that. I gotta wipe it off. And otherwise, if you want to watercolor with these inks, you need to use StazOn, except for you don't really need to use StazOn as long as you're very careful. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to stamp in my Night of Navy on my scrap. Okay, so there he is, Night of Navy. I'm done with my Night of Navy. I'm just letting this ink dry just a little bit because, like I said, this pad is pretty juicy. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in my water painters. So we just used these in a class where we did some coloring with our truck stamp. That was in my Christmas in July class. Now, this will tend to smear this ink a little bit. So you don't want to use brush strokes. I prefer the dabbing method here. I'm going to get my boho blue out, and if I squeeze the cover, it puts a little ink in here. And I'm just going to pick some up. My water brush is already wet. I kind of primed it before we got here, but you just push where it says push. And then I'm going to just kind of dab a little bit. Now this will reduce some of the crispness of the stamped image. Not nearly as much as if you were using brush strokes, however. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my crumb cake. And to clean my water brush, I just make sure it runs clear, which it is. Get some more water back on there. And I'm just going to tap, 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 tap. And I'm not even worried about having it all be a solid color. I'm okay with having some white space in there because I think it actually looks cooler. And so there is my little bird. Now, if I bring it up close, you can see that the water has started to blur the lines a little bit. If you don't like that, that's okay. You don't have to do it that way. Here's how you can color it without it kind of bleeding like that. You need to use StazOn, which means I can't have a navy blue outlined bird. It has to be black. I did not check my stamp pad before we came, so I don't know how well inked it is. It looks a little dry to me. I don't think I have another one with me, but that's okay. We'll just go with a grayer bird rather than a blacker bird. Which, you know what? If you look at seagulls, they're pretty gray anyways. This is not a seagull. I do know that. Is it a plover? I don't know. Around here we do have piping plovers, and they were nesting, and so you couldn't go in certain parts of the beach or walk in certain areas. I think they're done nesting now, though. And so now you can just add your blue in here. Oh, I went out of the line. Oops. If you want a little bit darker, you can add a little bit more. Okay. So this just is an alternative to coloring with blends. I really do like the ease of blends a lot. And then we can just add in some of this brown here. Crumb cake. Oh, no wonder it looks different. It's pecan pie. Well, that one works too. All right. I do like crumb cake better though. All right. And so there you have two different birds. So you can see that this one on the left is a little bit crisper of an image than this one on the right. I still prefer this one for right now because this is a bit of a watercolory scene too, right? There's just got it's a watercolor feel to it. So that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to die cut it. Let's go ahead and clear my table a little bit, make room for my machine. Here we go, plates 1, 2, and 3 already on there. And we'll bring in this and the Seaside Bay. It's no longer bundled together, but it does have coordinating dies. I'm gonna get the little bird out. And we'll get our piece of washi tape, something to hold that down in place. Let's see if I can get this lined up pretty well. That looks pretty good, at least from my angle of viewing. And that is all the die cutting we are going to be doing. And, oops, you know what? My paper wasn't dry, so my washi tape is lifting it up. Well, doesn't look too bad though. We rescued it. So there's my little bird. I'm going to take my punch. Hold on just a second. My son has a very big booming voice, and he just got home because his where he works, Pratt and Whitney in North Berwick, lost power. So he's able to come home tonight. Let me bring in some Night of Navy, and I guess I don't have a scrap piece, so we'll make a scrap piece. This is the 2 3/8 inch circle punch that goes with the circle sayings. This one also goes with the new Christmas set that is in the online exclusives that does the, remember I just talked about, it has a stained glass effect. This fits that. We're going to take our little birdie and we're going to put some dimensionals on him. You know what? I probably need a third one down here. Just get him a little stable. And come on. There we go. We'll put him right on this little piece right here. Let's assemble the rest of the card. So here's our card base. I'm going to take this basic white piece. Oop, I froze for a second. I caught it myself, but I don't know how long I was frozen. Sorry about that. My phone is plugged in and charging, but it must not be a lightning charger. It must not be the fast charger, because even when I have it plugged in, it sometimes goes low battery. Didn't help that it was pretty low battery before I plugged it in. All right, so there we have that right there. And then we're going to put this little guy right down here. And you can put him on with dimensionals, or you can put him just on regularly. I'm going to use dimensionals. And here's why I think a second layer of dimensionals is going to be okay. Because I'm not putting dimensionals anywhere where they are under the bird. So right up here, there's a dimensional. Right down here, I didn't put dimensionals behind his feet. And there's one over here, so that works nicely. And so there we have my little birdie. It's almost like a little spotlight. We're shining a spotlight on a bird. Now, one of the things, remember I said that there was something in Waves of Inspiration that I thought I could use on the front of this card? A little birdie right there. So let's go ahead and get him out. We're going to stamp a couple of those birds very quickly. I don't often mix my stamp sets on a video unless it's just a sentiment. But you know, if you've got more than one set, especially if it's beach themed, you know, why wouldn't you take from the good parts? And so maybe I just have something like this, and it's okay that he's kind of going off there. But there we have it. No bling. So this is a nice thank you card. Now, what can we do for the inside? Well, we can take our basic white 4 by 5 1/4 piece. And I'm just going to clean this little birdie stamp. Put him away before he gets mixed up with another set. And I'm going to bring in, and I told you I was going to do this, I'm going to bring in this little sand stamp. Not only that, but I'm going to bring in the little plovers or whatever they are. Plovers. I'm not sure exactly which way it's. I've always said plover, but I really don't know because I didn't grow up around piping plovers. So let's see. I need to find the right sized block, and I'm not gonna. I don't know what I did with it, so we're just gonna take this. I'm gonna bring in my scrap again to protect my surface, and let's. I'm gonna just do this in the basic gray because I've got the basic gray out. I could have done it in navy. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it in navy. Just because it kind of coordinates better with the card, I think. Let's go ahead and we'll just ink up our little birds. And we'll stamp them across the bottom. Okay. And then we can bring in that little sand, speckled stuff makes great sand. I'm gonna bring back my crumb cake ink because that's this color I've been using for sand. Let's see, oh, this will fit on this little stamp, that's good. And I'm gonna stamp around my little plovers. I want to try not to stamp around their bodies, and notice that I'm stamping and moving it around so that I have first generation stamping, second generation stamping. I'm just filling in some sand. There we go. So we've got our little birdies and our sand. Let's attach this to the inside. One of these days, I'm gonna come make a video and my phone is gonna be fully charged. Anybody that knows me right now and knows my phone habits knows that that is unlikely to happen. The only time that might happen is if I'm shooting a video in the morning. So there's the inside of my card, and I can write a nice little thank you note. There's the outside. And so I kind of cheated with just stamping those little birds from Waves of Inspiration. I could bring in this big old wave stamp, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get my big old block out, big one. Now, I'm not gonna stamp it all the way over to this side because then I lose, you know, it stops abruptly over here. So I'm gonna just stamp a little bit right there, although then it stops abruptly over there too. What am I gonna do? You know what? I'm just gonna stamp the wave right here. And so none of this comes in at all. And let's go ahead and use boho blue for that. It's a big stamp, so I often will ink it this way. If you wanted to ink with a little bit of contrasting color, a little bit more maybe of Night of Navy, you could pounce some of that on there in different areas. I'm gonna keep it fairly simple right here. I'll just lay that down. And there we have a little bit of a wave on my envelope. So there we go. We've used 3 different styles of stamps. One that's very watercolory, one that's more detailed And then this one is very detailed. But they all work together because they all have the same theme. So let me turn you around. Ooh, turn you around. Okay, hi, I'm back. So thank you so much for watching me tonight. Don't forget you need to register for my BOGO event. It's on the 19th, and I think several of you already have. I think we might be up to close to 10 right now. So that's great, and it will be open house style, so you don't have to be there right at 10. I know some of you are going to get an early bird invitation because your current customers you've ordered within the last 6 months. So thank you for that, and that's just a little perk for you. And but I have plenty of stuff. I'm not going to run out, and I've got lots of designer series paper. I've got lots of stuff. So, and I hope it all goes. It's all stuff I've got that I've purchased that I love. So I think you'll love it as well. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you? So next Tuesday, I have Tune In Tuesday, and I'm going to be featuring a standalone die set and some techniques that you can do with that. There's 2 standalone die sets that I'm going to be using this month, and I don't know which one I'm going to do first. I'll have to figure that out as soon as I get off of here because I have got some filming to do. I have got to do 2 Tune-In Tuesdays worth of stuff and prepare for my BOGO all before I leave for Las Vegas on the 22nd. So, and then I'm going away for a couple days next week. So, yikes. But I'll be coming to you from the family camp again next Friday. So hopefully I won't forget my block. I'm going to pack it right now as soon as I get off of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. The weather is supposed to be beautiful after tonight, so I hope you get out there and enjoy it. Have a great weekend.